The first time the sparks exploded in front of my eyes, I thought something inside me was finally burning out for good. The workshop roared with light and heat, metal screaming as it fused, the smell of iron and sweat hanging heavy in the daytime air. I was exhausted in a way sleep never fixed, carrying the quiet weight of failure like a second spine. Then she lifted her welding mask, just for a moment, and in that brief pause between sparks, I saw something I had not believed in for a long time. I saw an angel behind the sparks, standing in steel-toed boots, face smudged with soot, eyes steady and unafraid. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, in people showing up exactly when life feels unbearable, take a second right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Sometimes belief is the first weld that holds everything together. My name is Ayan Qureshi, and by the time I walked into that fabrication shop, I was already convinced my best years were behind me. Daylight filtered through grimy windows, slicing the dust-filled air into pale beams, and I remember thinking how strange it was that the world could still look bright while I felt so dim inside. I had once been an engineering student with plans sketched neatly into the future, but life had other designs. My father's sudden illness had dragged me home, drained our savings, and left me juggling grief, responsibility, and a constant fear of failing everyone who depended on me. When he passed, the silence he left behind was heavier than any machine I would later lift. I took whatever work I could find, and welding was not a dream but a necessity. It was honest work, people said, and honesty was all I had left to offer. The shop was called Ramon Steel Works, a place that smelled like heat and effort. Men moved with practiced confidence, their faces lined by years of labor and unspoken stories. I was the outsider, the new hire with careful hands and eyes that still flinched at sudden noise. My days were spent learning how to control fire, how to join broken pieces into something strong, while quietly wondering if the same could be done for a life. Every morning, the sun climbed high and poured into the workshop, reminding me that time did not pause for grief. I worked hard, harder than my body wanted, because stopping meant thinking, and thinking meant remembering. That was when I noticed her. Not at first, not properly. She was just another figure behind a mask, another body moving with purpose amid the chaos of sparks. But something about her presence shifted the air around her, like calm hidden inside noise. Her name, I would later learn, was Zara Malik. She was one of the most skilled welders in the shop, respected without question, and she carried herself with a quiet assurance that made even the loudest machines seem less aggressive. In a world where strength was often measured by volume, she was powerful in her stillness. I watched her from a distance, careful not to stare, absorbing the way she worked as if metal itself listened to her hands. She arrived early, stayed focused, and never wasted motion. There was a discipline to her movements that felt almost spiritual, as though welding was not just a job but a language she spoke fluently. When she lifted her mask during breaks, wiping sweat from her brow in the harsh daylight, her face held no arrogance, only a grounded calm that unsettled me more than noise ever could. I did not know it then, but I was already leaning toward her light, like iron drawn to a magnet. My struggle was not just physical. Inside, I was fighting a constant battle with doubt. I questioned every weld I made, every decision that had led me here. The shop was unforgiving to mistakes, and the fear of failure clung to me like smoke. Some days, my hands shook so badly I had to pause, pretending to adjust my gloves while silently begging myself to breathe. I was afraid of being seen as weak, of confirming what I already feared about myself. In that environment, vulnerability felt dangerous. Zara noticed anyway. Not with words, not with pity, but with awareness. She adjusted her position slightly to give me more space when I struggled. She demonstrated techniques without making a show of it, letting me learn without feeling judged. Her kindness was subtle, the kind that does not announce itself, and that made it powerful. In a place where everyone was hardened by heat and noise, her empathy was an anomaly, and I did not know how to respond to it at first. Part of me wanted to retreat, to protect the fragile walls I had built around my heart. The days passed, marked by the rhythm of work and the steady march of the sun across the sky. I began to improve, my welds growing cleaner, my confidence inching forward. Yet the weight inside me remained, a constant reminder of everything I had lost. There were moments when the shop grew quiet in my mind, when the sparks blurred into memories of my father's hands, rough and warm, guiding mine when I was a child. Those moments hit hardest in the middle of the day, when light was brightest and shadows were shortest, leaving nowhere to hide. One afternoon, the pressure finally caught up to me. A critical weld went wrong, metal warping under my hands as panic surged through me. The supervisor's disappointment was immediate, sharp as the crackle of cooling steel. I felt small, exposed, and on the edge of breaking. As the others moved on, their attention already elsewhere, I stood frozen, staring at my failure. The shop felt louder than ever, the daylight harsher, and for a moment, I considered walking out and never coming back. That was when Zara lifted her welding mask and looked directly at me. The sparks had faded, and in the sudden stillness, her eyes met mine with an understanding that felt almost impossible. There was no judgment there, no impatience, only a steady acknowledgement of my struggle. It was as if she saw past the mistake, past the uniform, straight into the tired core of me. In that instant, something shifted. The noise dulled, the fear loosened its grip, and I realized I was not as alone as I had believed. She guided me through fixing the weld, her presence grounding, her patience unwavering. The metal responded, aligning under careful hands, and the mistake slowly transformed into something usable, even strong. It was a simple act, really, but to me it felt monumental. For the first time since my father's death, I felt supported without feeling pitied. That distinction mattered more than I could explain. From that day on, the shop felt different. Not easier, but more bearable. Zara's quiet support became a constant, and in her presence, I found the courage to face my own doubts. I started to talk more, to listen to the stories hidden in the lines of my coworkers' faces. I learned that everyone there was carrying something heavy, that strength often looked like showing up day after day despite the weight. The daylight no longer felt like an accusation but a reminder that there was still time to build something new. Zara's story unfolded slowly, revealed through small moments and shared silences. She had fought her own battles to be taken seriously in a field that often underestimated her. She had learned to rely on herself, to find pride in her craft when recognition was scarce. Her resilience inspired me, not in a loud, dramatic way, but through consistent action. Watching her work was like watching someone rewrite their destiny with every spark. As weeks turned into months, my confidence grew alongside a deeper sense of purpose. Welding became more than a job, it became a metaphor for healing. I learned that broken things could be joined, that heat and pressure did not always destroy, sometimes they forged strength. The shop, once a place of desperation, became a space of transformation. And at the center of that change was Zara, an angel not because she was flawless, but because she chose kindness in a world that rarely rewarded it. The true test came when an opportunity arose for advancement, a chance to lead a small team on a complex project. The old fear resurfaced, whispering that I was not ready, that failure was inevitable. I wrestled with those thoughts under the bright sun, the workshop buzzing around me. But this time, I did not retreat. I remembered the moment Zara lifted her mask, the silent assurance in her eyes, and I stepped forward. The project was demanding, filled with setbacks and long days under relentless daylight. Mistakes happened, tempers flared, and exhaustion tested us all. Yet I found myself leading with patience, mirroring the quiet strength I had learned from Zara. When challenges arose, I faced them head on, trusting in my skills and the support of my team. We completed the project successfully, the final welds cooling under the watchful sun, solid and true. Standing there, looking at what we had built, I felt something I had not felt in years. Pride, not the hollow kind, but the deep, earned satisfaction of growth. I realized then that the angel I had seen behind the sparks was not just a savior, but a mirror, reflecting back the potential I had forgotten I possessed. Zara had not fixed my life for me, she had shown me how to fix it myself. As the days continued, the shop remained a place of noise and heat, but it was also a place of connection and resilience. Daylight streamed in as it always had, but now it illuminated progress rather than loss. I understood that second chances were not always grand gestures, sometimes they were quiet moments of understanding, offered without expectation. If this story has touched your heart, if it has reminded you that hope can appear in unexpected forms, please take a moment near the end of this video to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps stories like this reach others who may need them just as much as I once did. And before the ending, I have one special request for you. Please comment the word spark if you believe that even in the hardest moments, a small light can change everything. Looking back now, I see my journey not as a series of failures, but as a process of forging something stronger. The angel behind the sparks was real, not because she descended from the sky, but because she chose compassion over indifference. In the glare of daytime and the heat of honest work, I learned that healing is possible, that broken lives can be welded back together, and that sometimes, all it takes is one person lifting their mask to remind you who you really are.